In Tarrant County, some individuals actively seek out opportunities to interfere with law enforcement during service calls, film the encounters, and post them to YouTube, where the footage is monetized. The current criminal penalty for interference with public duties is a Class B misdemeanor, and this bill simply moves to a state jail felony. This bill was brought to us by the Tarrant County District Attorney Phil Sorrell's office, and this bill has been passed by the Senate in the form of Senate Bill 1208.
Chair calls William Vassar.
What we are seeing in Tarrant County are individuals are inserting themselves on traffic stops. They're inserting themselves on domestic violence investigations. They're inserting themselves on warrant service, where police officers are trying to arrest violent fugitives. They're running up to police officers with their cameras. And the problem with that is it's a public safety issue, because I'm amazed in the 20 or 30 cases that I've dealt with in Tarrant County that nobody's gotten hurt. So why do we need to make this a felony? Because we are just having the same group of people are getting arrested over and over again. A couple days in the Tarrant County jail is worth it for them to post it on YouTube and make money off of it. And I'm just going to speak to Tarrant County and Fort Worth. I would say the past 2 years, this is really becoming a problem. And they kind of work in a network because they all have YouTube channels. So they'll be in Fort Worth one weekend.
What's going on, everybody? I got some really bad news for anyone who lives in the state of Texas, as they have now passed House Bill 3565. Let's go ahead and put the pictures up of them full mass. As you can see here to the far right is William Vassar, one of the top, if not the top, prosecutor in Tarrant County. And next one is Phil Sorrell's current elected Republican District Attorney of Tarrant County. These are the two men who helped pass House Bill 3565. And what this means is, if you film a traffic stop, police officer, government building, etc., and the police say that you are interfering, you will now be arrested for a felony. That carries maximum of 2 years in prison, minimum of 6 months in what they call in Texas a state jail prison. I believe Texas is the only state that has a state jail felony. This is the same exact prosecutor who signed off on a prosecutorial discretion not once, but twice, as it pertains to my cases when I was arrested for allegedly interfering. He says to the House members that what he's dealing with are people that are up in the officer's face, yelling. I don't know who he's talking about, what auditor. I have never seen. And if you guys think I'm getting this wrong, please shoot me an email. Let me know how. I have never seen a First Amendment auditor, cop watcher, whatever you want to call it, physically stop a police officer from making an arrest. It never happens. And the camera footage that I got, which he was the prosecutor on, doesn't show any of that. This guy is lying to the House representatives and ultimately trying to take your freedom away. To add to it, even the members of the House acted like they don't even know what the law and are asking this prosecutor, who's clearly lying, I'm going to prove that, what the law is and what they need to do, listen to him. What's going to happen next, folks, is they're going to start arresting people who do cop watches, government building audits, etc. They're going to start arresting them for felonies. And if you love 1A auditing to watch it, participate in it, if you stand for your constitutional rights, then that's about to be taken away from you. I've fought very hard for years for our First Amendment rights. It's gotten to a point where it's already so bad. Even just yesterday, I was live. They tried to arrest me for requesting a discovery for a Class C violation. Now they're trying to bump it up to a felony. So if you request discovery, if you film a traffic stop, felony, you're in jail. This is being used to take away the First Amendment. Make no mistakes about it, y'all. I'm going to even add some video proof where he was a prosecutor over this case, where everything he's saying never happened. Let's go ahead and get to the video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Smash the thumbs up. Let's go.
Chair lays out House Bill 3565 and recognizes Chairman Cook to explain the bill.
Thank Thank you, Chairman Louderback and members for the opportunity to present House Bill 3565. I'll be quick. I know that others are waiting, but basically, currently under Section 38.15A of the Penal Code, a person commits the Class B misdemeanor offense of interference with public duties if they disrupt, interrupt, impede, or interfere with the following public servants while they are conducting their official duties: peace officers or police canines, EMS and fire, animal control, and county public health, environmental, radiation, or safety officials. For these public servants, every day and every counter on the job is inherently dangerous, as you know, Chairman. Specifically for law enforcement, when an officer is working a traffic stop or accident scene, dealing with an outside party who is screaming or encroaching the officer's physical space can cause unnecessary distractions and escalation. Additionally, the officer may have to call for backup to deal with the outside party, taking precious resources away from other emergency calls. In Tarrant County, some individuals actively seek out opportunities to interfere with law enforcement during service calls, film the encounters, and post them to YouTube, where the footage is monetized. The current criminal penalty for interference with public duties is a Class B misdemeanor, and this bill simply moves to a state jail felony. While the First Amendment protects the right to film law enforcement interactions, the right should not extend to behavior which obstructs a public servant's ability to do their job. Members, I'll be glad to answer any questions. This bill was brought to us by the Tarrant County District Attorney Phil Sorrell's office, and would be glad to answer any questions. Would like an opportunity to close when appropriate. And this bill has been passed by the Senate in the form of Senate Bill 1208 and is in the Criminal Jurisprudence Committee at this time.
Members, any questions for Chairman Cook?
I know the word. Thank you, Chairman Louderback.
Let me get,
yeah.
Please show Representative Bowers in attendance.
Thank you. I know we're short on time, so just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
You don't touch any of the conduct related to interference.
That's correct. We strike three words and swap out Class B misdemeanor with state jail felony. That's it. Yeah.
And this Senate bill is identical to that? It doesn't tinker with the underlying offense?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair calls William Vassar. Sir, we show you registered as William Vassar, Assistant Criminal District Attorney. Phil Sorrell's Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're here today. You represent who we said, and you're testifying on for against House Bill 3565.
For Chairman.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. So my name is Bill Vassar. I've been a prosecutor at the Tarrant County DA's office for over 22 years, and I want to tell you all what I've been telling the juries the past 2 years when I've been trying these cases. Nobody is saying you can't film the police. Sadly, whether we like it or not, nobody is saying you can't cuss, scream at, or antagonize the police. What we are saying is you just can't interfere with their ability to investigate a case. What we are seeing in Tarrant County are individuals are inserting themselves on traffic stops. They are inserting themselves on domestic violence investigations. They're inserting themselves on warrant service.
Now, Will, I got a question for you. Who interjected with who in this clip where I was charged with interference with public duties? Who approached who? And you were the prosecutor in this case. Let's roll the clip. Excuse me?
I don't care if you record, but you're going to wait right there and not interfere with our investigation.
Do you even know what the interference law is?
And get out of the road.
I'm allowed to cross the road
You're in
and stand on a public sidewalk. Yeah, I can stand on a public sidewalk, ma'am.
You're not on the sidewalk, you're on the road.
Now, William, you were the prosecutor in this case. So who approached who? Who interjected with who in that, Mr. William? You can clearly see that you got cops coming up to people who film the police. You're allowed to be on a public sidewalk and film the police. That is not what this bill is saying. Let's continue.
Where police officers are trying to arrest violent fugitives, they're running up to police officers with their cameras. They are screaming at them. They are cussing at them. They're demanding their name and badge number. And they are physically getting in their investigation. And the problem with that is it's a public safety issue. Because I'm amazed in the 20 or 30 cases that I've dealt with in Tarrant County that nobody's gotten hurt. So why do we need to make this a felony? Because we are just having the same group of people are getting arrested over and over again. A couple days in the Tarrant County jail is worth it for them to post it on YouTube and make money off of it. So we're very in support of this bill. I would just ask that you consider this, because I think we really need to give our men and women in blue just a little breathing room when they're conducting investigations. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any members, any questions?
Just real quick, and
Moody.
thank you very much, Chairman. I appreciate that. If we're talking about law enforcement, frontline law enforcement, I'm just looking through the statute. A1, peace officer. A2 is emergency medical services. A3 is firefighter. A4 is the peace officer's service and the animal, the canine with them. A5 has to do with transmission. If this is really targeted to frontline law enforcement, maybe the penalty enhancement should be for certain ones of these and not the entire group of them. But if it's to be broader as the whole statute, because statute is more than just peace officers.
Sure.
It's a whole bunch of interaction. And it may be their position that it should apply to all these, but I just, the examples keep being peace officer,
Right.
officer. So, just a thought. I don't know if we want to look at stair-stepping that penalty when we're talking about frontline law enforcement, or if we want to go to everybody that's covered under the statute. And we can talk about that later. I know we're short on time, but just a thought.
Sure. And I'll tell you, the only thing that I've seen personally in Tarrant County are frontline officers.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman.
Representative Little.
Thank you, Chairman. So, Mr. Vassar, I had similar concern to Representative Moody. I think you could probably tailor this to peace officers in A1 and be better off. Certainly, I agree with you. It can endanger officers. One of the concerns that I have is the breadth of the statute as it relates to interrupting, disrupting, impeding, or otherwise interfering with. And it seems to me that captures a broad range of conduct, right? How are peace officers trained on what constitutes a violation of this provision? Because it's pretty easy to imagine an interruption of a peace officer.
Sure.
And it certainly different from an assault or a true interference preventing a police officer from handcuffing somebody or something along those lines. So can you just explain that to me?
Sure. And I can explain what Fort Worth PD is training their officers to do.
Okay.
Fort Worth PD is telling their officers, find a line of demarcation, meaning that chair right there. Sir, you're welcome to film over there, but you've got to stay by that chair. Okay? So that's what we are training them to do. The problem is these individuals are not doing that.
But William, you think maybe the reason is because they don't have to? It doesn't say anywhere in Texas Penal Code 3815 that there is a cutoff line. So you're telling the House of Representatives, you're telling cops to enforce laws that aren't even in the books. As a matter of fact, in your bill proposal, you and Phil Sorrell's bill proposal, you don't even mention a cutoff line in it. You just want to make harsher penalties to help cover up corrupt police. You're sitting there telling the House of Representatives in the case that you deal with, you were actually the prosecutor in my case, that you got people up in people's faces. And at the end of this video, I'll roll the entire clip. But you failed to mention when you got police officers coming up to cop watchers, auditors, etc., and giving them unlawful commands, literally telling people to stand in a street. Then when they lose the case for interference, now they're saying, oh, well, you were obstructing the street after a cop tells you twice to stand there. You do not mention that to the House of Representatives. How come, Will? How come that you're leaving very important cases that you were over out of this argument? Let's continue.
Right. These officers are having to say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, you've got to stand over there. They give individuals multiple times. And then they finally say, look, if you do it one more time, we're going to arrest you. So these officers are trained to really, tell them to stay over there, be calm with them. They're welcome to film, but they've got to get out of their investigation.
Okay, thank you. Chairman.
Representative Little, Bowers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Representative Little, as well. Thank you for your testimony, and I guess I just have questions about the line of demarcation.
Sure.
And, what is the number, or is there a space that you think is significant?
So there's no bright line rule, and I think Florida right now is trying to pass maybe a 10 or 15 yard barrier, but in Texas we don't have a bright line rule. So what Fort Worth PD is trying to say, pick a tree, pick a line in the concrete or a car, something roughly 10 yards for them to stay behind and film. And what's really amazing to me is that it's pretty impressive that when our officers are getting screamed at, that they are able to remain calm, say, look, sir, you're welcome to film over there. You just got to stand over there.
Thank you, and I appreciate that because I guess I'm thinking about the de-escalation in that point
Sure.
in time when that person comes up and sees something that they think is out of line or whatnot. And, you know, I think about my own family that's in law enforcement and that it could create a public safety issue. But I also have concerns because I feel like if they're filming and if no one catches it, then when something is out of line and it would not be reported, it would go unreported.
Absolutely. And again, in what I've been telling juries the past 2 years, nobody's saying you can't film. That is 2025. We have that right. Everybody has cell phones. It's just if an officer is conducting a traffic stop, right, and I'm the officer and I'm talking to somebody in a car, you can't be right here with a phone in my face screaming at me, right? And because what happens, obviously, is the officer turns to address that individual. Now they're not worrying about their investigation.
Right. Thank you. It makes sense. Thank you so much.
ADA Bassard, let me see if I can touch on exactly what's going on here. In open air investigations or open air inquisitions, wherever we're being called for service, if you direct someone to go behind that chair in an open air, they simply move the chair.
Right.
So it usually results very, very decidedly into a call for additional units. And we actually are running into situations where investigations can't continue until other units get there, hold the crowd back, or a developing crowd situation. So these things are ever growing, especially in open air areas. So where crowds have congregated or begin to congregate. So this is would you agree with that? This is what we're seeing over and over again.
Absolutely, and it's also a resource situation because a recent case that I tried, it was merely a DWI investigation, and we had 2 people showing up filming. Well, now because it's one officer with a DWI investigation, we have to have backup, right? Oftentimes these interference cases, they turn into resisting cases. That is additional officers. In addition, these people, as part of their play with the police, then they're demanding a supervisor. So then that means a sergeant or a lieutenant now has to come out to the scene to deal with that person. So it's, in lack of a better terms, it's really taking officers off the street.
Very, very common. Thank you. Representative Bowers.
Thank you, Chairman Lauterbeck. So, have you seen an increase in this and like over what time period? And I guess because, as you said, ADA, that we're looking at now people have cell phones. And
right.
So
I would say for and I'm just going to speak to Tarrant County and Fort Worth. I would say the past 2 years, this is really becoming a problem. And they kind of work in a network because they all have YouTube channels. So they'll be in Fort Worth one weekend, they'll be in Houston the next, then they'll be in Austin because, they're monetizing this.
thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you all very much.
You know, guys, I find it disgusting that our House of Representatives in Texas will just blindly go along with what this guy's saying. Doesn't show any video proof of what he's talking about, no evidence of what he's talking about. And this bill was passed behind closed doors later that day. He tells the House of Representatives that people that film cops are up in the cop's face, resisting arrest, cussing at them, screaming at them, but he never does mention or show the case he was over as it pertains to me. So I'm going to show you guys that. Let me know if you hear any cussing or me up in somebody's face. If you see that, let me know in the comments where. But let's go ahead and roll that footage.
Hey, I don't care. No, you'll wait right there.
Excuse me?
I don't care if you record, but you're gonna wait right there and not interfere with our investigation
Do you even know what the interference law is?
and get out of the road.
I'm allowed to cross the road
You're in
and
the
stand
road.
on a public sidewalk. Yeah, I can stand on a public sidewalk, ma'am.
You're not on the sidewalk. You're in the middle of the road.
That's because you tried to stop me.
Huh?
I guess I'll stay on the sidewalk then.
What did I tell you? Would you like to go to jail for interference? I said
You don't-
wait over there,
interference
not
is a
interfere with
physical
our
act, ma'am.
investigation.
I'm not interfering with your
Yes, you are.
investigation,
You're in
ma'am.
the middle of the road right now. So wait over there.
You have crime scene tape up?
Wait over there.
You have crime scene tape up, ma'am?
Wait over there like I told you.
What's the interference law? You don't even know the law, do you?
You want to go to jail today?
It'd be an unlawful arrest if you arrest me. So you're
I also told you where to stand.
What's your name and your badge number, ma'am? It's not interference.
Yeah.
Interference has to be a physical act.
Yeah, let's go to jail, please. Let's go. Get your hands out of your pocket. Turn around. You're under arrest. Do not resist me.
But yeah, folks, that's the part that they didn't want you to see. They didn't want the House of Representatives to see that you actually got police officers that are coming up to people, telling them to go stand 200 yards away, don't have a clue what the law is, doesn't even want to identify themselves as police, tells you twice to stand in the middle of the road, and after they lose the interference case, then they want to charge me with a lesser offense. Okay, we're going to say you obstructed the street. Then when that gets dismissed, then they threaten, oh, we're going to make it a criminal standing in the street, which never got filed. All this was dismissed. It never got mentioned to the House of Representatives. But William Vassar and Phil Sorrells, after this bill passed, basically is taking away your First Amendment right to speak. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm getting this right or wrong. Be sure to subscribe, like, and even share the video. You know, it helps this channel out, and it's free. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.